Thank you very much, Michigan. All right. Oh, I've been on the road running for president. Or
and killing.
okay. So I've been on the road running for president, first a Democrat, then as an independent, and now for President Trump. 19 months. I've been to 48 states, and all the polling when I was running as a Democrat and independent showed that I was taking more votes away from Donald Trump than from President Biden or Kamala Harris. President Trump never treated me uncivilly. He was always very kind and civil toward me and always very friendly, and he never litigated against me. The Democratic Party started suing me almost on day one. They sued me to keep me off the ballot. In 10 states, they spent $10 million. I spent $10 million trying to get on the ballot in a place like Michigan. The day that I endorsed President Trump, the Democratic Party changed and began suing me to keep me on the ballot. And it's election interference. They know I'm not running for president. They're just trying to confuse people. 2 days ago, I lost a case in the United States Supreme Court about Michigan and Wisconsin, and the DNC won that case. And they're forcing this state and Wisconsin to keep me on the ballot. When you go into the voting booths, if you have one, I hope most of you have already, how many of you already voted? Honest. When you go into that voting booth, you're going to see my name on the ballot. I do not want you to vote for me. If you want to see me go to Washington, you better vote for Donald Trump. When I was 10 years old, my uncle was president of the United States. 6% of the people in this country, of the children, had chronic disease. Today, 60% do. The autism rates have gone in 1 in 10,000. In my generation, 70-year-old men today, the autism rate is 1 in 10,000. In my children's generation, it's 1 in every 34 kids, according to the CDC. When I was a kid, the diabetes rate was 0 for juvenile diabetes. A pediatrician typically would see 1 case of diabetes in a 40 or 50-year career. Today, 1 out of every 3 children who walks through his office door is diabetic and pre-diabetic. I never heard of a peanut allergy when I was a kid. I never knew anybody who had 11 siblings. I had 70 cousins. None of them had peanut allergies. Today, there's kids with peanut allergies and food allergies and eczema in every classroom. All of these diseases we never heard before. Crohn's disease, rheumatoid arthritis, ADD, ADHD, speech delay, language delay, tics, Tourette syndrome, narcolepsy, ASD, autism, all of these. And I never heard of it as a kid. And they're now epidemic in our children. When my uncle was president, we spent 0 on chronic disease in this country. There weren't even any drugs for it. Today, we spend $4.3 trillion. It is existential for our country. And 77% of American kids cannot qualify for military service today because of chronic disease epidemic and obesity. The obesity rate when I was a kid was 3%. Today, it's 50% of our kids. In other countries, like Japan, it's still 3%. We are the sickest country in the world, and the sickest generation of kids. And if you elect Kamala Harris, you're going to get more of the same. We need to bring Donald Trump to Washington and make America healthy. I started working on this issue in 2005. And I was seeing kids. I know what a healthy kid's supposed to look like. I know what a child is supposed to look like. And our kids don't look like that anymore. They're so damaged today. And all of you, how many of you know a kid with chronic disease? Raise your hand. Most of us know people with chronic disease, and this is not normal. This is not what our children are supposed to be looking like. For 19 years, I pray every morning, without a single exception, that God would put me into position to end this chronic disease epidemic. And in August 23rd of this year, God sent me Donald J. Trump. And he told me, I want you to help me end the addiction of our country to wars and bring that $200 billion we sent to the Ukraine to lose a war, bring it back home and rebuild America. And he said he wanted to end the censorship. He wanted to end the surveillance. He wanted to end the weaponization of American enforcement agencies against the American people and against our democracy. My uncle Ted Kennedy wrote Title IX to make sure that women had an opportunity to practice sports in school. Today's Democratic Party is destroying women's sports in school by letting men compete. And Donald Trump is going to protect women, and he's going to protect women's sports. And he told me that he wants to end the chronic disease epidemic and make America healthy again. And don't you think that we deserve finally in this country a president who's going to end our addiction to foreign wars? And don't you think that we deserve a president who's going to protect the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the freedom of speech and our freedoms here in America? And don't you want a president who's going to get the corruption out of the government and the corporate control and get the 1,000 ingredients that are in our food that are illegal in Europe? And don't you want a president who's going to make America healthy again? A president who's going to make America great again? And let's get to the polls on Tuesday and elect Donald Trump and get a landslide. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Hello, Michigan. Very good, man. Very cool. Well, We're not going to have this too much longer. You know, we're winding down. We're winding down. 9 years we've been doing it, right? And now we're winding down, and hopefully we'll be going to the next phase, which is turning our country around. Because we've got a little bit of a mess to take care of, don't we, huh? A little bit of a mess. But we'll get it done, and we'll get it done right. But we're going to miss these rallies, aren't we, huh? But there'll be even better rallies in a different form. I think we'll say that, right? Front row Joes. They'll be even better, but they'll be in a different form, and really the form that we want. That's what we've been striving for. We have to get out and vote, everybody. Don't take any chances, because Kamala's never going to be able to do it. She won't be able to do it. Not even a thought of doing it. Doesn't know how to do it. Doesn't even know how to say to do it. We cannot take any chances, so you got to get out to vote. And I can only say that it's been the experience of a lifetime for a lot of us. Some of you have been to 300 rallies. I see these people. And you're going to look back at this time in life, you know, and you're going to say there was something very, very special about what we all did together. We all did it together. It's never been together. We'll have everything perfect. We'll have everything so good and fixed up and perfect. We'll have everything perfect. And then in 4 years, somebody will come down, and that person's going to be hot as a pistol. And you know what they're going to draw? About 300 people. That's what you draw. A politician draws 250, 300 if they're good. If they're bad, they draw like 8 people, like Biden used to draw, right? Remember, he used to fill up. Remember the circles? Couldn't fill up the circle, so he used the fake news media to fill up the circles. But no, it's different, but there'll never be, in the world, there'll never be anything like what we've done. We've done something that's unprecedented, and we've had fun, but now we have to get, hopefully, to work. We got to win. You got to get out and vote. And then we're going to do a real job for you all, and we're going to meet again many times, I hope. But this has been the thrill of a lifetime for me and for you and for everybody. And now we want to take that thrill and turn it into let's do business, right? Let's do business. So it's great to be back in this beautiful state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. And I'd like to begin by asking a very simple question. I've been doing that lately because it seems so poignant. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I don't think so. I don't think so. It's been, is that one of the easiest questions you've ever been asked? But I've come today with a message of hope for all Americans. With your vote, this election, most important election you've ever even thought about voting in, I will end inflation. I will stop the invasion of criminals pouring into our country. And I will bring back the American dream. Gonna bring it back. You know, yesterday we had a long day. We started out before 7 in the morning. We went to New Mexico. You know, it's sort of in play because the people can't take it anymore. The people are pouring through the border. That's a real border state. But you're a border state in a different sense. Everybody is a border. Every state is a border state. We have criminals coming in from, they fly them in now to the Midwest. Isn't that nice of them? Kamala. And you said to yourself, who the hell would want to do it? And so many of those people are hardened criminals coming out of prisons, jails, mental institutions. But this is all you need to know. Kamala, who's grossly incompetent, broke it. I will fix it. We're going to fix it. We're going to fix it quickly. America will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than ever before. This election is a choice between whether we live and have 4 more years of gross incompetence and failure, or whether we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. We'll get it going fast. We're going to get it going fast. And I'm asking you to be excited about the future of your country. Be excited. It's been hard to say, but now we're down to 4 days. 4 days. Right? Front row Joe? No, I mean, if you think, we're down to 4 days. Wow. We thought it would never come, right? We thought it would never come. I'm asking you to dream big again. You have to dream big. It's hard for you to think of that because you've been so hurt by these incompetent fools that have been running our country. This will be America's new golden age. Every problem facing us can be solved, and it's going to be solved quickly. But now the fate of our nation is in your hands, and it really is. You got to vote. You got to vote. Don't believe the polls that were way up or were pretty far up, but a couple of them way up. One gentleman, a great pollster, they say, he said, we have a 97% chance of winning. I said, don't believe it. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. I think he's a Democrat because nothing matters except what happens on Tuesday when you think of it, right? All doesn't matter. So just pretend that we're 1 point down. We're not. We're up. But pretend that we're 1 point down. On Tuesday, you have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala, but you've had enough. You can't take it anymore. You're the worst vice president in history. You're the worst border czar in the history of the world. We're not going to let you destroy our country. Kamala, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. Thank you. She shouldn't even be in this fight. She shouldn't be. She doesn't deserve it. The guy got, look, whether you like him or not, he got 14 million votes. He won the primaries. Then they walked in. They told him, you're out. He had a debate, which was a little rough. And then he but that's his prerogative. It just happens, right? And they walked in. They said, you're out. And he said, no, I'm not. I won't leave. You're out. Get the hell out. You're out. And they were not nice to him, by the way. I know exactly what went on. Don't forget, I know all those people that are in the surrounds very well. They were rough with Joe Biden. And think of it. They got 14 million votes, and they're telling him, get the hell out. And then they give it to her. And she came in last in the Democrat primary, right? She came in last. She was 22 people, Mr. Ambassador, 22 people. Think of it, 22 people. She was the first one to drop out. I guess that means she came in last. She never made it to the great state of Iowa during their primaries, and then she were running against her. It's actually not fair to him. It's really not fair to him. That's no way. He's got the right. Who cares? Who said that? That's a great line. Who the hell said that? It's good. He goes, I'm going, I've become such a nice guy all of a sudden. I say, it's not fair to him. And this guy shouts out, who cares? Who the hell cares? Who cares about him? Except, I guess he happens to be right. He said, that's very good. Thank you for adding so much spice. That was a good line of stuff. Who cares? But he did get screwed, let's face it. No, they came in. They should have picked somebody else. They could have picked the one that came in first, runner-up. You picked first. You know who that would be? Crooked Bernie, right? Crooked Bernie. Crooked Bernie Sanders, he got screwed twice. He got screwed with Hillary. I think he's one of the best sports, though, there, because he got terribly taken advantage of with Hillary, and she won, and he went back, and he just kept being very liberal. By the way, he's far less liberal than Kamala. You know that. She's rated the worst, most liberal, crazy person in the U.S. Senate. She's more so than even Pocahontas, who was very, remember, she said, my mother told I was an Indian. How do you know you're an Indian? Because my mother told me I have high cheekbones. You believe it? I actually think that's a racist comment that she made. I think that's a racist comment. Everything we have been fighting for these past 4 years comes down to the next 4 days. Can you believe it, right? We've been setting records in the early voting, but we can't let up. In-person voting in Michigan ends on Sunday, and if you're not going to make that, you got to get there on Tuesday. Okay, who's voted? So who is going to vote? All right, 60-40. It's not bad. That's a lot of votes. You got to get the hell out and vote. Because it's now or never. If we don't do it, it's never going to happen again. You know, there are those that say that if we don't win this election, you may never have another election in this country again. That's a possibility with these radical left lunatics that we're dealing with. Crazy Nancy. You want to marry me? She wants to marry me. What the hell? Well, let me ask the First Lady if that would be okay, because it's okay with me, but I have to get permission. Thank you. That's cute, actually. So get everyone you know. Vote, vote, vote. Get everyone you know. There's a woman named Jane. I saw her backstage. She's got a husband who's not in good shape at all. And I asked her, are you going to vote? Yes, sir. And I asked the husband, are you going to vote? Well, I don't know. We have a game. And he said, no, this is the biggest game of all. This is 1,000 times. You know, what we're doing is 1,000 times bigger than the Super Bowl. It is. When the NFL has a problem, they had a big problem with Canada, big problem. Canada was actually taking advantage of the NFL for years, and they couldn't get it solved. You know what they did? They called the president, and I got it solved in like 2 minutes. I got it solved in 4 months. This is 100 times. They fought for 21 years with Canada. I got it solved in 2 minutes. They never even said, thank you. They didn't say thank you. With your help, we're going to defeat Kamala Harris, and we're going to make America great again. I'm studying my hair. It looks not so good today. It's not a good hair day, but who cares? Not a good hair day for me. Ay. Oh. I don't want to look. But we have breaking news. It's actually bad news. It's only good for one thing. If you happen to be running against the stupid fools that created this news, it's bad news. Bad news for the country. It was just announced a little while ago that brand new jobs report proves decisively that Kamala Harris and Crooked Joe have driven our economy off a cliff. And if she gets 4 more years, your family is you're never going to recover from these stupid people. Because we're being taken advantage of by every country all over the world, including our allies. And in many cases, our allies are worse than our so-called enemies, okay, or trade. Nationwide, this just came out. Listen to this. You got to study these numbers, right? Does anybody have a pencil? Please take it down. Nationwide, the economy created, this is the lowest number in years, a pitiful 12,000 jobs last month. Whoa. Hundreds of thousands of jobs less than what it should be. I never heard of 12,000 jobs. It's not even believable. And when they revise it downward in a few weeks, it will be much lower than that. They'll have to revise it downward. And just think, this is not good news for them. I mean, how would you like to have an election in 4 days and you just had the worst jobs report in the history of our country, practically? Now think of it, you're running for office, they announce, you know the best thing they have going? The fake news, because they won't even write about it. The fake news. The fake news won't even write about it. By the way, How good was Bobby Kennedy Jr.? How good was he? And he's so into health and all. He's going to take care of women's health and men's health and your children's health. I said, you could do anything. You just go ahead and enjoy yourself. But just do me one favor. Leave the liquid gold alone. Let me handle that. We're going to make a fortune. We're going to make, Bobby, please leave that alone, Bobby. Just let me handle that. Oh, we're going to make so much money. But just think, a few months ago, they fraudulently claimed, do you remember this? 2 months ago, 818,000 jobs were created when in fact there were none. It was a fraud. There was a fraud. And people reported it to the FBI, but the FBI decided to do nothing. Are you shocked to hear that? It was a total lie, and they thought they'd be able to get away with it right through the election. But fortunately, there was a person known as a whistleblower. I knew I liked whistleblowers on occasion. And they were forced to admit it 3 weeks ago that they created 818,000 fraudulent jobs. They were fake jobs. And everybody said, oh, the economy's finally coming back. No, it's not coming back. They were fake jobs. If I did that, they would impeach me. They would say, let's impeach you. But now they've just revised past jobs, okay, by an additional 118. Now, they just announced yesterday that they're going to have to reduce them again by 112,000 because they were fake jobs too. This administration is a big, fat con job. The whole thing is dishonest. It's all misinformation and disinformation. That's almost 1 million fake jobs that never were here. And they wanted to wait. How would you feel if you said, well, our economy's okay, and then we vote, and we have an election, and let's say they win. I can't even imagine it, but let's say they win, and then 2 days later they announced that there were 1 million jobs that were phony. How would you like that, John James? No good, right? No good. We got to do something about it. They never do anything about it. We never do. These are fraudulent people. No, but how would you like, the election's over, and we have this person that nobody ever, you hear Harris. Harris. Who the hell is Harris? Nobody even knows who the hell she is. Who the hell is she? Nobody knows who the hell she is. Harris. Ladies and gentlemen, President Harris. Who the hell is Harris? It's true. Ladies and gentlemen, Harris came in by announcing 1 million jobs more than existed. It's a fact. Like 2 days after the election, you feel down, you lost an election. And how about the other side? The other side is saying, man, they said they had a great thing going. They just announced 1 million jobs more than they had. They didn't have 1 million jobs. These are terrible people. I'm telling you, they're terrible people. But let's bring it all together. We love everybody, right? No, we don't, actually. How about her? She's always talking about, no, I want to bring the country together. Trump is Hitler. Excuse me, I shouldn't have said that. No, she's always saying, I want to go in peace, and we want to get together as a country. And, you know, the Trump people are garbage, total garbage. Oh. But we want to get together, and Trump is Hitler, and they're all racist, and they're all this, and they're all that. But we want to have peace, so we want to get along. I don't even know if she knows what the hell she's saying, but it's pathetic. So Kamala failed, economic agenda, wiped out nearly 30,000 private sector jobs just recently, and nearly 50,000 manufacturing jobs just over the last short period of time. Did you know that? You lost 50,000 manufacturing jobs. That's better with a mic. That's better. Thank you, backstage. These mic guys, I'm telling you, I'm having a lot of problems with mics lately. I'm not happy. Get yourself a new contractor, please. And don't pay the bill for this contractor. And then they'll write a story, Trump doesn't pay bills. I pay bills. You know what I do? I pay more than I'm supposed to when they can do a good job. But when they don't do a good job, don't pay your damn bill. That's my first. Man. I got to do these speeches like 3-4 times a day for 62 days almost. And then on top of it, I have a mic that doesn't work half the time. All right. Our manufacturing sector is now in very severe recession. Almost 100,000 manufacturing jobs are killed since the start of the year. Think of that. Think of that. 100,000. That's a lot of jobs, especially when you add on the fraudulent almost 1 million jobs, right? So that's 1.1 million. 150,000 Americans joined the unemployment rolls last month. You know that. You don't hear that from these fake news people because they don't report it. They don't report it. They don't report it just like they don't show how many people are in this room because they don't do it. Just like they don't show the videos. A friend of mine, we do videos now. We made a little money. We bought some things for like $1 million. Can you believe it? I spent $1 million for some screens so you people could see better. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And you know the problem? I have a friend, he's watching. A number of people called me. They said, we loved your rally last night. It's too bad we couldn't see the videos. What do you mean you couldn't see the videos? He said, they don't put them on. I said, of course they do. But they don't. You know why? Because they're told not to. And they're told not to show the crowd size where you go from room to room, from place to place. We never have an empty seat, and nobody leaves early. But we never have an empty, you know what? We never have an empty seat. But I said, I want to have them show. Oh, we have it out with them all the time. A friend of mine said they don't show the thing. And think of the cameras, Ralph. All they have to do is right there. There's the screen, there's the screen. All they have to do is 1 inch right, ding. 1 inch up, ding. And they can see it, but they don't want to do that because they don't want to show, because they're fake news. That's why they're fake news. And most importantly, nearly 250,000 people dropped out of the labor force last month. Can you believe this? We're in a depression. You better hope you vote for me because I'm going to get you out of it fast. But under these losers, it's only going to get worse. This would only get worse. This was only get worse. You're not going to have a country left. Honestly, if you don't vote for Trump, you're not going to have a country left. Under Kamala's nation-wrecking policies, the American worker is absolutely drowning. You're drowning. You're not going to have your job very soon. And that stupid fool at United Auto Workers, that poor, stupid fool that runs the union, he said, yes, we'll go. He agreed to all electric cars. And I said they wouldn't work 5 months ago. And you know what? Now they don't work. I mean, look, all electric. Electric cars are great, but for a certain percentage of people, okay? You don't force it on everybody, nor do you say everybody has to have a hybrid, which are also great, or an old gasoline-powered car. The only thing we don't want is a hydrogen car, because hydrogen, if somebody said, well, they don't work, but very seldom, sir. I said, what is seldom? Well, once every 2 or 3 weeks. Well, what happens if it doesn't work? Sir, the person is unrecognizable. The person in the car or people in the car are absolutely unrecognizable. It's like a major bomb went off, but we're working on the problem. I said, I have no interest in hydrogen. Whoever the hell's working on hydrogen, we don't want a hydrogen car. Can you imagine? You call the wife, there's your husband alone, the tree. I don't see him. The tree's bright red. I don't see him. The data shows that 100% of all net job gains, listen to this, think of it, it's all gone to the migrants, along with African American jobs are at the worst, one of the worst levels. They're all going to migrants, the African American. When you see those numbers, that's the numbers the fake news ought to show you, because they're going to come out with numbers right after the elections. It's going to show that all those people that illegally come across the border with their open border policy are taking the African American jobs away. So. Now, can you imagine? So, guys have jobs for 20 years. They've got a family. They have everything. They're doing a good job. They're good people, good workers. And their jobs are being taken away by people that just came in. And it's not right. Hispanic jobs also, to a lesser extent. Union jobs will be affected, not yet, but they will be very much so. But the African-American jobs, you ought to tell them to go get you the real numbers, because when you see this, it's going to be probably after the election. You're going to be really angry. You're going to say, I wish I voted for Trump. He got me criminal justice reform. He got me the colleges, historically black colleges and universities. I took care of land. I took care of land. I took care of them. Every year they'd come to Washington, the heads of the nice guys, a lot of nice people, actually. After 2 years, they said, why do you guys keep coming to Washington? These were the heads of the colleges, black colleges, and very important group of schools, actually, and great people that I got to really like some of them. Some of them became friends of mine. And in the third year, I said, you're here again. Why are you here? I never asked them the first 2 times. Because they make us come back every year for money because they have funding. And I said, why don't they give you a long-term deal? He said, they would never do it. I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to give you a long-term deal for more money than you're asking, because you're not asking for enough. And I got them taken care of. And I said, the only bad thing about what I'm doing is I'll never see you again. Most likely, I'll never see you again, which is sad. But you know what? It's wrong what they're doing to you. They had to come back for years and years. They came back every year, hat in hand. One guy said they make us like beggars, These are black, wonderful people that run the universities. They run the universities. You're right. So I took care of that. I took care of so many things. But remember, the criminal justice reform, I was called by some people at CNN that I'm the only one that could get it done because I can bring some conservative votes over. That I did do that. And I got criminal justice reform done. And it was really, the black population wanted it more than anybody else because it was very unfair what was happening. And we got it done. And I'll tell you, I made this statement, with the exception of who? Abraham Lincoln. I did more as president for the black population than any other president in the history of our country. But now the migrants are going to take those jobs that you have, and you should demand before the election that you see, because you'll never vote for Kamala. You never vote for her. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing. Kamala's inflation nightmare has cost a typical American family $30,000 in higher prices, and she's continuing to cost you an additional $1,100 for every single month. That's because of what they've done with inflation. They took, I had no inflation. We had no inflation. We went from essentially no inflation to the highest inflation in the history of our country. And then they say they're going to vote for these fools. They're not going to vote for these fools. Remember, I had virtually you had no problem. You were making money, you were putting money away, you had money left over, you could go out shopping, and your prices weren't quadrupled for a sausage, for a piece of lettuce, for an apple. Now the prices have gone so high. Everyone tells me about the word groceries. For groceries, cars, look at the price of cars. Look at the price of education. These schools they're going crazy with the education prices. They're going absolutely crazy. But I had no inflation. I had prices stable. We wouldn't put up with it. We would talk to people, too, if they, were ripping you off. We would talk to people. We had smart people, the best people. And now look at what happened. The inflation is eating everybody alive. It's eating especially our senior citizens. That's why I do no tax on Social Security benefits, because it gets you back to even. But now that very low IQ person who wants to be, have we ever had a low IQ president before? You have to know the opposition. You have to know President Xi. The press hates when I say it. I say very smart. If I use the word brilliant, they'll say, he said he's brilliant. No, he controls 1.4 billion people with an iron fist. No, he's not brilliant. But these are very smart people. These are brilliant people. These are people that like their country. Maybe they don't, but they run their country tough and smart. And we have nobody to compete with them. We have people that it's like your high school football team playing. What's a good team today? Let's see. What's a good team? What's a good team? Oh, the Detroit Lions, right? I couldn't have said that 2 years ago. Good. I got bailed out. I'm trying to say, what the hell? The worst thing you can do is mention some team that's not from the area. When I'm saying, oh, shit, I'm in Michigan. What the hell am I going to do? I'm stuck up here. See, John, she wouldn't be able to figure that out, She couldn't even get off the stage when she said, we have 32 days left. Remember? The teleprompter froze and she couldn't get off the stage. No, it's like your high school team playing the Detroit Lions. That's right. That's a pretty good team. They did a good job after so many years, right? They did a good job. See, that's what good management is. You get the right people. It's the same thing in government. You get the right people and good things happen. But now, Kamala wants to impose the largest tax hike in American history and raise your taxes by at least $3,000 a year. It's much worse than that, actually, because she wants to terminate the tax cuts that you've gotten. I stand before you today as the only candidate who can... we're going to rescue this thing. We're going to be able to do it, and it's going to happen fast. It's going to be rescued. Your prices are going down. We're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to bring prices down. Who can rescue our economy from total obliteration and restore our country to full prosperity, explosive growth, and maximum strength? It is about growth, It's about growth. It's about some proper cost cutting. You know who we're going to use for that? Elon. Ooh. We think he can find $2 trillion. Holy Elon. Anybody that can have that rocket come down the way it came down, that sucker. Right? How about that? How cool was that? He's the only one that can do it. Cutting 2 trillion, finding 2 trillion. It's easy when you can do that, and he wants to do it. You know where he is right now? He's campaigning in Pennsylvania for Donald Trump. How cool is that, right? How cool. No, he's cool. He wore that black hat. Remember the black hat? He called it dark MAGA, right? Dark. I think you'd look good in that hat. He called it dark MAGA. He looked cool. You know what happened? I don't think we sold one dark hat in 2 years. I didn't even know we had them. You want to know the truth? And everything's subtle, where it says, make America great again. It was also in black. So you had black on black. That's called very subtle. And he wore it and he loved it. And he did great. He made a speech, did great. We had 107,000 people in Butler, PA, right? Honoring the firefighter, Corey. Honoring Corey the firefighter. 107. And Elon got up and made his speech, and he did a good speech. He said, I've never seen so many people. I've never seen anything like it. And then, because, he comes sort of out of a laboratory. I mean, what he likes is It's where he feels comfortable. All of a sudden, he's on the stage. He's got all those people, and he's wearing the hat. I said, what is it? He said, dark back. I said, listen, that hat looks great. He went, okay. So I sold like 2 hats in the last year, dark backer. Nobody bought them. We had a run on the hats. They sold 71,000 black hats. Can you believe it? 71,000. You make money with money. That's the way. So it is. That's a hot item. Anyway, his just released numbers plainly indicate our economy is a total disaster and is expected to get very substantially worse. It's a wonderful time for me to come in. You know, this is what I want. It's this. No, I would have rather come in when things are going in the right direction, but we're gonna get it straightened out fast. It's gonna be. We'll have the best economy you've ever had. You know, the stock market's going up. Scott Bessent, some of the smartest analysts on Wall Street said it's only going up for one reason, because Trump's leading in the polls and everyone thinks Trump's going to be president now. They think Trump's going to win the election. That's why it's going up. Now, here's the bad news. They say if he doesn't win, you end up in a depression. It's, wow. Wait till you see that. It'll be a 1929 style economic depression that will absolutely crush your incomes and all that stuff. But we're not going to talk about that because we want to make sure we win. And when we win, you are 4 days away from the best jobs, the biggest paychecks, and the brightest economic future the world has ever seen. You're going to be great. You're going to love it. And we will end Kamala's economic disaster and launch a brand new Trump economic miracle. You know, Steve Moore, a great economist. He's great, actually. He is a great guy, right? He is a great guy. He just wrote a book called The Trump Economic Miracle. Just came out. It's a bestseller. Go buy it. It's great. I mean, it's a great book. I mean, what the hell? It's like $20. It's $20. Give the guy $20. No, it's a great book. It's a hot book. The Trump Economic Miracle by Steve Moore. Go buy it. It's great. He really tells us how we did it and what we're going to do. It's, you know, not that complicated. I will massively cut taxes for workers and small businesses, and we will have no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our great seniors. And you know, they're going to claim Donald Trump has a conflict of interest because I'm a senior and I'm giving. They're going to say he only did it because he didn't want to pay tax. Oh, they'll come up with something. They'll say there's some reason that he did it. No, I think, you know, the fixed income seniors, which is 96%, you don't look like a senior to me. And let me tell you, you look like a good senior. But I don't feel like a senior. Does anybody feel like a senior? I don't feel. I feel better now. I think I'm sharper and better now than I was 25, 30 years ago. You know? I do, I swear. I'll let you know when I don't. In fact, you'll probably know before me. All you have to do is watch. There'll be a day when you get up here, you say, where am I? Like Joe did, right? Where am I? Where are the stairs? Where the hell are the stairs? Oh, there they are. You'll know. I think I'll know before you, actually. I think I will. And but I think we have a long way to go. Good parents. You know, it's nice to have parents that lived a long time. Because if you believe in that, right? I do. I believe in that. It's called genetics. Genetics is good. Not everything, but it sure as hell is good. It's better to have good genetics than bad genetics, huh? And I will support a tax credit for family caregivers who are amazing people who take care of a parent or a loved one. And, you know, if we didn't have family caregivers, we wouldn't have enough hospitals. If we doubled our capacity, we wouldn't have enough. These people do so much, and we're going to get them a tax credit. To rapidly reduce inflation, I will end Kamala's war on American energy, and we will drill, baby, drill. Thank you. And I'll cut your energy prices in half within 12 months. We're going to cut your energy prices, and that's going to be the beginning, and we're going to bring your your cost of groceries, foods, everything, we're going to all come down. That's what caused the problem. The energy is what caused it, because they came in and they destroyed what I had built. What a stupid group of people. All he had to do is go to the beach. You know, he went to the beach all the time, right? Somebody said he looks great. He's 82 years old. He looks unbelievable in a bathing suit. But he went to the beach, and he had a hard time moving. You know those things, they weigh like about 6 ounces. They're aluminum, hollowed aluminum. They're so light. They're meant for children and very old people. And what happens is he couldn't move it. He needed people to help him. So a kid came along who was 5 years old and helped. But he went to the beach, and he had one quality that I don't have, and I wish I could have it. I'd pay a lot for it. He has the ability to fall asleep instantly with cameras on. Who the hell could do that? And you see him falling asleep and drooling out the right side of his mouth, and he's gone. And he gets a good rest. I don't do that. I toss and turn and turn and toss. I'm thinking about how the hell I'm going to make money for you people. Tossing, turning. Always tossing, turning, spinning around like a top. Thinking about China, thinking about Russia, the Russia hoax. How about the Russia hoax? That was another deal. I will cut a record number of job-killing regulations. I will terminate the Green New Scam, the biggest scam, the greatest scam in the history of our country. And I will end Kamala's insane electric vehicle mandate, saving the Michigan auto industry from extinction. And you know, I was here 4 weeks ago. I was at the Detroit Economic Club, right? And we had a meeting, and it was about automobiles, cars, and stuff, because you're getting killed. Look, you just lost 40, 50,000 jobs. This guy, the head of the union, you know, I'm leading by far in the popular poll, in the rank and file with the union. But they have guys that only go for Democrats. That's all right. Sean Fain, or whatever the hell his name is. So listen. And I told the story about a year ago. I have a friend that builds auto plants. Has anyone heard this song? Should I tell it again? Should I? John, oh, there he is, my man. Come on up here. Get up. This guy is so great. This guy, come on up. Secret Service may rough you up a little bit. Come on up here. This guy gets it. He got it. Yeah, look at him. Look at him.
Fun out.
Look at the arms on him. Look at the arms. All I can say is I'm taller than him, but he is much bigger. Much bigger. And he's a great guy, and he loves this whole, I think he just loves Detroit. You love the area. But I've been telling you for a year and a half about this incident that I had. A friend of mine, John, he builds plants. That's all he does. He's a rich guy. He builds plants. If you told him to build an apartment, he wouldn't know how. If you told him to put down asphalt, he would. But he can build a plant like nobody. He builds all of them, most of them. And he was telling me that he's building some big plants. I said, I want to see one. Let's go. I want to see a plant under construction. I like that. I like that stuff. I was always good at it too. Always a good builder. I always built great buildings. So I wanted to see one. He said, well, I'll have to go to Mexico. We know the story. We're going to have to go to Mexico because all of the big plants. And I said, what do you mean Mexico? What about here? No. Oh, this is a year ago. He said, really? Let me see. And he showed me a plant that's the biggest plant, I think, in the world, right? It would ruin Detroit. It does probably more than all of your plants put together. It's massive, owned by China. So China was going to come in and build one of the biggest plants in the world, I think the biggest plant by far, actually, in the world, and some others, right along our border, make cars, put them into here, and you can forget about Detroit, you can forget about Michigan. It would be over. And I didn't like it. So he told me about it a year ago, and then I started thinking about it. And I said, you know, if they build that plant, and you know, they're decimating Europe, what they're doing, they're dumping cars in there like crazy, and it's being decimated, the auto industry, the manufacturing of car industry. So what happened is he said, no, this is the way it is, it's going to happen. I said, so I said, we're not going to let that happen. Because if they build these massive plants, especially this one monster plant that's so big that you wouldn't believe it. So I announced when I was at the Detroit Economic Forum, and a little before that I'm going to put 100% tariffs, and if that's not high enough, I'll make it feel ridiculous. And I announced it a little before the forum, actually, and I said, no, we're going to put 100%, and maybe I'll make it 200, maybe I'll make it 300, I don't give a damn. I'll make it whatever I have to make it. And that was it. I just made the announcement. I didn't make a big deal out of it. The fake news didn't pick it up because they don't want to pick it up. But I didn't want to see Detroit destroyed, and other places like South Carolina and Tennessee and a lot of other places. But your state more than any other state, without question. And so what happened is I forgot about it. Now I'm speaking, and I see this guy, John, the builder of auto plants. And I said, I'd like to see him after I speak. So I speak. I'd made my speech. It was a brilliant speech. Brilliant. And I saw him. And I said, John, how's that plant going that you're building in Mexico on the border? He said, sir, they've canceled that plant last week. They're not going to build it. Because they think you're going to win. And they think you're going to put tariffs on the cars. And therefore, they're not going to be able to bring any cars into the United States. And they said, if Trump wins, this thing is not going to work at all. So, but I'll tell you what, that plant will go up so fast if there's a mishap. Here's the good news. There's only one way there can be a mishap, and you know what that way is. And I hope to hell that doesn't happen. I hope to hell that doesn't happen again. So I'm just proud of this guy because he's been on my... I didn't know who the hell he is.
That's the man.
I didn't know who he was. All I know is he has very good, strong arms. I'm impressed by his arms. He's a strong guy, but he was a good guy and a smart guy. And he was against the electric cars because he said they're going to be made in China. You know, you're going to get 2 good years, and after that, nobody's going to work. Did you see? 37,000 auto jobs were cut this month. 37,000. Well, you can tell them, okay? You tell them. So here's the story. They're not building the plant. We're going to build those plants.
Thank you, sis. Okay, guys, listen. President Trump is telling you the truth about when we met, and it was a year and a half or so ago, and he asked me questions. He said, how does your industry like these EV mandates? And I said, sir, they don't like them. Nobody wants to buy those. You know, we're not only auto workers, we're consumers too, right? We don't want to drive those things. How do you pull a trailer with 4 snowmobiles on it up to Traverse City when it's 5 degrees below zero in an EV? You can't do it. But Kamala Harris thinks she knows better than the experts in Detroit. She wants no more combustion engines, internal combustion engines, produced by 2035 because she's smarter than the engineers at General Motors, right? So President Trump gets it. Every time we met, we started talking backstage, and he would ask me questions. I'd give him feedback. We'd talk back and forth, and it became kind of a regular thing. So I got in the habit of coming up here and kind of giving him updates on how things are going in the auto industry. I was holding a rally every week outside of a different auto plant in the Detroit area with a lot of these guys behind me. And we were talking to auto workers all summer long for 4 or 5 months. And I would ask them, I'd do my own poll. What's it like inside? Are they voting for Trump? How's our support? I'd say, do we have majority in there? They'd say, majority? You got 65 or 70%. We're not voting for Joe Biden and then Kamala Harris. So don't believe anything you read in the newspaper. Don't believe anything you see Sean Fain talking about. The auto workers, UAW members, are voting for Donald Trump for president. Okay. That's the good news. That's the good news. But now I got some bad news for you, and this is going to really tick you off and motivate you to get your friends out to vote. Yesterday, Ford Motor Company sent out notices to all their workers at the Dearborn Ford pickup truck, the Lightning, 100% electric vehicle. They laid everybody off till next year. All right? So those people, through the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, are unemployed. We don't know when they're coming back, but it won't be at least until next year. So I don't know if you saw that news. Now I got some other news that the people in the back there don't like to talk about, but I'm going to pass it on. Now this is big news. Because I've been getting called up on stage and I talk to President Trump on a regular basis, 3 vice presidents at Stellantis reached out to me through a friend of mine who's very tied in with the auto industry, and they wanted to give President Trump some bad news about what Stellantis has planned for next year. But they would only do it on the condition of 100% complete anonymity, because they would be fired and lose their jobs if it came out that they had leaked this information because they had signed non-disclosure agreements. Now, these are not people on the assembly line. These are not high-low drivers like I was. The one gentleman that the lead of these 3 is a vice president of manufacturing. Now, he recently retired, but they told me, and they sent me all the data and information to back it up, and I've gotten it to the proper people that can vet it, check it out, corroborate it, and make sure it's all legit and accurate. But they told me that the expansions, quote-unquote expansions to the plants in Mexico that Stellantis is currently working on to handle additional capacity, those are going to be the only capacity when they get up and running, because they're going to move all the American production south of the border to Mexico. Now remember, Stellantis is not an American company. You know, Chrysler's been used and abused like a stepchild. They were bought by Mercedes. They were bought by Fiat. Now they're owned by a French company. So they don't care about you. They don't care about our jobs. You've heard all the speakers up here today. Every job in the Detroit area relies on the auto industry. But a French company that owns Chrysler is about to send all the Chrysler production to Mexico. There's only one way to stop this. There's only one person who will stop it. His name is Donald J. Trump. So I'm asking you, when you leave here today, you got 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, to get every single person in your contact list out to vote. Not Tuesday. Get them to vote tomorrow and Sunday. Okay? Tell them, do not wait till Tuesday. They got to do it over the weekend. One phone call and they'll know where they got to go. But you got to get them out. And then when they vote, then they can get everybody on their contact list out to vote. We got to make it too big to rig. Let's elect Donald J. Trump, the 47th President of the United States.
The podcast is dying. Why you believe this? We're going to win. I see that.
He's a hell of a guy. That guy. Thank you. So he's something. He loves the country. He loves your state. Tell Stellantis, who I think I sent him back. He's quite good at delivering a message. Tell Stellantis that if they plan on moving, we're going to charge them a 100% tariff on every car they put home. And they won't move. You know who said they're going to move? A company I buy a lot of stuff from them. A lot. Great company, John Deere. Going to move big sections of their company from Iowa, I believe they said, to Mexico. And I told them, and I did it in writing, I said that if you do it, beware, because I'm going to charge you about 100% tariff on everything you make to put back. So if you're going to move from Iowa, and if you're going to move from Iowa to Mexico, and then you think you're going to make it in Mexico and sell it over here and sell it at that cost, not going to happen. We're going to do a 100% tariff. They they announced, I believe, that they're no longer making the move, didn't they? I think that's what I heard. Somebody told me the other day that they announced that they're not making the move. Why would they make the move? It'll cost them much more to make the product over there when we do this. In other words, we're going to use her. Look, the most beautiful word in the dictionary to me is tariff. I think it's the most beautiful word. It's going to make our country rich. And these stupid people, look, politicians, there's only two reasons why they wouldn't want to use tariffs. They're stupid or they're corrupt. There's no third reason. They're either stupid or they're corrupt. I just stopped the largest plant in the entire world, which would destroy your state. I think this plant made more than all of Detroit put together. You know, it's a big... And I just stopped it, and I'm not even president yet, okay? Think of what I could do when I'm president. But I have to find out. But I'm telling you, I told John Deere, we told them very strongly. We said, look, you're going to move out of Iowa? We're putting about 100% tariff on anything you make. There was a different kind of a plant. There was parts and this and that. I said, if you're going to do that, we're putting a tariff. And that was it. I sort of went on to other things like how to get elected very easily. And I heard 2 days ago that they're not going to build the plants. So it's pretty good, right? It's pretty good. But you're a hell of a guy, I tell you. It's a friend of mine. I'll make interest on Carlo. So here's the thing I thought of, and it's funny, it's not that complicated. It's going to do tremendous good for your area because here's what I'm doing. I thought of this idea, and then I expanded. You know, a lot of times you have an idea, and then you expand. I was always good financially, and I was always very good on construction. In this case, construction doesn't matter. It's finance that matters. And people call me up. It doesn't sound complicated. They say, from Wall Street, 182 IQ guys, brilliant guys. Where the hell did you ever come up with that idea? Like, as an example, no tax on tips. I did that. Everyone went crazy. Nobody ever heard of it before, right? So it's sure. And then that dumb woman, very dumb woman, that low IQ individual, like 2 months later, stood up. Today, I'd like to announce that we're not going to have tax on tips. And she got booed out of the place, you know. It didn't work. You never heard a second. Nobody talked about it after that because she was... So, you know, the one problem with what I do is I do it and then somebody else copies you, but they don't have the brain power to get it done. So I had this idea, but then I had a better idea using the first idea, but it's all pretty simple. I'm going to make interest on car loans fully tax deductible. That's it, right? And people say, where the hell did you ever... Isn't it funny? It's like the paperclip, you know? Years ago, long before you, youngster, years ago, somebody came up with the idea of the paperclip. I think 129 years ago, a long time ago. And he had a little piece of steel, metal, whatever. He bent it around, and start selling it. So, and everybody saw it. They said, why the hell didn't I come up with that idea, right? The paperclip. But this is sort of like that. So that's fully deductible. That's going to be unbelievable. But here's the problem. I don't give a damn if they buy a car in Japan or China or South Korea. What the hell good does that do for us? So then I came up with phase 2 of the same idea, fully tax deductible, but only if the car is made in the U.S. Wow. And I announced it last week up here. I've been up here a lot because we have to win Michigan. We win Michigan. We win Michigan. We win the whole ball of wax to go see that. And we got to bring John James and all of these great guys with us. We got to bring them with us. But I got calls. So here it is. Number one, the deductibility. They said, wow, what a great idea. But then number two, you only get it if you make the car in the U.S. I can't say here, but we'll try steering them to here because I would love... You know, they've been talking about a renaissance and a rebirth for Detroit for 45 years. And I got into something because I said... They've been talking about it for 45 years, and if it's okay with you, it hasn't exactly happened, okay? You know, I'd like to say it did, but it hasn't. And if I did, you hit me on that one too. But it can happen, and I'd love to steer it right over to here where it all began, because it's very sad It's very sad what's happening. But think of it. You're going to have deductibility of interest. That's a big deal. You're going to be roaring, but I didn't want it to go to China, Japan, South Korea, or any one of 10 other countries. So I came up with phase 2, and I said, but only if the car is built in the United States of America. Otherwise, you don't get it. How goes? You know what? That in itself will spur, you will be spurred onward to bring back millions of jobs. We will give our companies the lowest taxes, the lowest energy costs, the lowest regulatory burdens, and free access to the best and biggest market on the planet. Remember this, you're not going to have a best and biggest market soon. Your market's getting evaporated by incompetent people that are leading it. One guy who has to go to bed at 4 o'clock in the evening, and another woman who's actually not nearly as smart as he is. Would you believe this? But only for those who make their product the same thing. This is on a bigger scale than the autos. You can build your plant here, and we love you. But if you don't build your plant here, you don't get the tariff, you don't get the tax cut, you don't get it. You have to build your plant. And these guys at Wall Street that are very brilliant guys, they call me up, who the hell gave you these ideas? And yet, it's just like, I always say, it's like the paperclip. People don't think about it, but think of the idea that deductibility, that's gonna make it great. Vote for Trump, and you will see a mass exodus of manufacturing jobs from Mexico to Michigan, from Shanghai to Sterling Heights, and from Beijing to Detroit. Finally, Detroit will benefit, right? And it's easy. And you know what her economic plan is? She doesn't have one. She doesn't have one. She wants to tax companies. You know what happens when you tax them? They leave. A lot of these big companies, they're run by they live in Switzerland. They have very glamorous lives. They have the life that I could have had if I decided not to do this. Actually, somebody said to me, are you glad you did it? I said, absolutely, but I could have been on the best beaches in the world. I own the best beaches in the world. I could have had such time. I could have been at the Great Turnberry in Scotland. I could have been anywhere I wanted to be. I could have had those waves smacking me in the face. I could have said, that white, beautiful white skin that I have would be nice and tan. I got the whitest skin because I never have time to go out in the sun, but I have that beautiful white. And you know what? It could have been beautiful, tan, beautiful. But you know what? If I had the choice, I wouldn't even think about it. I would do exactly what I've done because we're going to make America great again. We're going to make America great again, greater than ever before. Soon. We're going to pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act also. That was very simple. Reciprocal trade, meaning if China or any other guy, I don't want to pick on China because the European Union is almost as bad as China. They don't accept your cars. They don't accept your farm products, but they send their farm products here and they send their cars here by the millions and millions. So if China or any other country charges 100 or 200% tax, then we will charge them 100 or 200% tax in return. It's called an eye for an eye, and it'll all stop. I will never apologize for defending America. I will protect our workers. I will protect our jobs. I will protect our borders. I will protect our families. And I will protect the birthright of our children to live in the richest and most powerful nation on the face of the earth again. And as we rescue our economy, I will also restore our borders because I think it's your biggest problem. I think, inflation is terrible. It's a country buster. The economy is horrible. You saw the numbers, and I hope the fake news is going to write those numbers. There's a lot of fake news back there, but I hope you'll be lucky if one guy writes it. It'll be the local Detroit newspaper or something. They don't write those numbers because they want to try and get her elected. Why? I don't know. That's the biggest thing I can't understand. Why the hell would you want her? She's horrible. But over the past 4 years, Kamala has orchestrated the most egregious betrayal that any leader in American history has ever inflicted upon its people. She has violated her oath and eradicated our sovereign border, totally eradicated our border, and unleashed an army of gangs and criminal migrants from prisons and jails insane asylums and mental institutions from all over the world, from Venezuela to the Congo in Africa. Congo, a lot of people coming in from the Congo. And you know where they live in the Congo? In jails. They're emptying their jails into this country. But they're doing it all over the world, in Asia, in the Middle East, and in South America. Venezuela's released big portions of their jails into the United States. And I'm surprised they haven't done more yet. They will. It's going to all come in. You'll have 100%. But I would have done it faster than them. I would have done it if I were them. Why would I keep these prisoners for 60 years? The killers and murderers and drug dealers and everything else. They've released them all into the United States. And you know what? Their crime has gone down by 72%. They've gotten their crime. They've gone into their cities, Caracas and cities, and they've taken the gangs and they've removed their gangs and they've put them into your country. Can you imagine? This woman and this guy, but she was in charge of the border. Remember, she was in charge of the border. He put her in charge of the border. She is the border czar. She doesn't want to say that because it's been so bad. And by the way, the Border Patrol endorsed me a few days ago with the strongest endorsement they've ever gotten. They actually said, I'm the greatest president in the history of our country. I said, are you talking about the border? They said, no, the border too. You're the best we ever had in the border, but you're the best president in the history of our country. And then I said, does that include Abraham Lincoln, George Washington? Does that include everybody? How about Lincoln, Washington? You know, we had some pretty good ones. We had some pretty bad ones too. The couple of that we just had. Here's the good thing. Jimmy Carter's just turned 100. He's going to be a happy man. He's so thrilled because his administration looks totally brilliant compared to the Biden-Kamala administration. So Jimmy is a happy man today. He's led a brilliant administration by comparison. Today I want to hear, and I want you to hear from a mother I just made 2 days ago who suffered gravely because her daughter was killed by an illegal migrant that would have never come in under the Trump policy. And she said that would have never come in. We have open borders. These killers are coming in at levels that nobody's ever seen. Please watch.
Sunday night, I asked her to not stay up super late because of her coming to work with me in the morning first to do her summer school. She said, okay. I told her good night and I love you. I went to bed, not realizing that that was going to be the last time I saw her.
We're best friends. We're going to sing it again.
I woke up to notice she wasn't in her bed. I'm in my heart trying not to lose my mind because I don't know where she is. I finally remembered her phone had a location on, and her phone was pinging just 2 minutes down the road, right behind the skate park. I start driving to the direction the phone was being pinged at, and I see a couple cop cars with lights on. I see yellow tape, and immediately my heart drops and sinks to the bottom of my stomach. My daughter's hands and ankles were both bound. She was strangled to death, left with no pants. And I know in my heart, she fought incredibly hard. She was not going down without a fight.
We begin with two men we're learning are charged with capital murder tonight, accused of killing a 12-year-old girl.
Police say these men strangled her before dumping her into that creek. Both men were in the country illegally.
Apprehended, then released by Border Patrol less than 3 weeks before Jocelyn's death. The men accused of killing Jocelyn Nungare are affiliated with the gang known for brutal violence.
Kamala Harris was in charge of immigration in our borders. If we had better border policies and not open borders and not these catch and release policies, I truly believe this all could have been prevented. Under her being vice president of this country, my daughter's life was ripped away from her. She had her entire life ahead of her.
Happy birthday, dear Jocelyn.
My daughter is 6 feet in the ground based off of policies that she allowed to keep. Kamala Harris did have one job, and she not only failed, not me, she failed my daughter. She failed Jocelyn. She was only 12. President Trump reached out, gave me his sincerest condolences as not a former president, but just as a father, someone who cares. I believe Donald Trump needs to be back in office. I can at least know that my next child will be safe in this country.
That's what we're allowing into our country. The day I take the oath of office, the migrant invasion ends and the restoration of our country begins. And the savages charged with brutalizing and murdering precious Jocelyn are members of the same vicious Venezuelan prison gang, Tren de Aragua, that is taking over apartment complexes and unleashing a violent killing spree all over America. You probably read in Aurora, Colorado, and I think Colorado's going to vote for Trump because what's happening in Colorado is unbelievable, man. They're taking over the state. The radical left governor has no idea what to do. The United States is now an occupied country, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. November 5th, 2024, Election Day, will be Liberation Day in America. It'll be liberation in 4 days. On day 1, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. I will rescue every city and town that has been invaded and conquered. These towns have been invaded, and these towns have been actually conquered. Think of it, we're talking about the United States of America. And we will put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in jail, or at a minimum, kick them the hell out of our country and France. To expedite removals of Tren de Aragua and other savage gangs like MS-13, I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Very tough one. To target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil. And if they come back into our country, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility of parole. And I'm hereby calling, today I am calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer. And I will immediately ban all sanctuary cities in the United States of America. They're sanctuaries for criminals. Despite all the damage she has caused, Kamala has spent the final week of her campaign comparing her political opponents to the most evil mass murderers in history. 3 days ago, Joe Biden called our supporters garbage. He said we're garbage. Said we were garbage. It's not nice, is it? Not nice, Joe. It was so bad that the White House stenographer was ordered to change the transcript. That's like 60 minutes taking out the answer to a question. Did you see that we sued 60 Minutes and CBS station? But the stenographers who were honest and they reported it, they were told to not put down what he said, put down a different answer. They couldn't do it because it's fraud. That's not what they heard. My response to Joe and Kamala is simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. You can't. And you can't be president if you hate the American people. Kamala's closing message to America is that she hates you. You know, you got to be something there. I think she does. I do believe, you know, don't forget, she's from San Francisco. She's a Marxist, or as you would say, a communist from San Francisco. She destroyed the greatest city in the country, probably, you know. It's probably the best city in the country was. My closing message is that I love America, and I'm inviting you to join us in building an extraordinary future for our nation. My oath of office is an oath of allegiance to you, the American people, and I'm asking for your vote, but I want you to know that whether or not you vote for me, when I win, I will fight for you with every breath in my body. I will. What we have built is the biggest, broadest, most incredible coalition and the greatest political movement in American history. My God, it's the best movement, the biggest movement in the history of our country. I told Joe, I said, Joe, it means make America great again. It's okay, Joe. We're seeing historic levels of support among blacks, Hispanics, and Asians, Jews, Catholics, evangelicals, and Mormons. They're all joining our cause in larger numbers than ever before. And now the most amazing thing is happening. We're also winning overwhelming support from your Muslim community right here in Michigan. Muslim and Arab right here in Michigan. That's something. That's progress. And I just came from an incredible meeting with the Lebanese community in Dearborn. Last week I was honored to be endorsed by a group of some of the most important imams and Muslim leaders in your state. And I'm also grateful to the mayors of Dearborn Heights. Bill Brozzi. Bill Brozzi. Where's Bill? Hello, Bill. Thank you very much for being here. And the mayor of Hamtramck, Dr. Amir Galeb. Doctor, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. They're great people. Many Muslim and Arab Americans are friends and family living in the Middle East, and Kamala's campaigning with warmongers like Liz Cheney. How do you think that is? They want to get the Arab American vote. They want to get the Muslim votes. So she picks Liz Cheney, whose father virtually destroyed the Middle East. Right? I don't think it's working out too well. You know, it's interesting. If you give, Liz Cheney, she talks big, I want war. She always wants war. Every time I was with her in the White House, we should attack this nation, that nation, nations that people never even heard of, we should attack. She's a big tough guy. She's a big tough one. She's a tough one. But if you gave Liz Cheney a gun and put her into battle facing the other side with guns pointing at her, she wouldn't have the courage or the strength or the stamina to even look the enemy in the eye. She would have. She sits back in Washington, we ought to go and attack Iran, Iraq. We're going to attack everybody. That's why I broke up with her. All she wanted to do is go to war with everybody. Because she, like Kamala, is a stupid person. It's easy for her to say she wants to start wars from the comfort of her nice home or her father's lavish home that he got from killing a big portion of the Middle East. You know that, right? He headed up a company that was a big company, a big beneficiary of the wars. These war hawks, they want to draft your kids to die in wars, and they will never fight themselves. Liz Cheney wouldn't fight. I'll go with her. I'll go to the Middle East. I'll go wherever she wants, and we'll fight. She doesn't have the guts to fight. She's all talk and no action. She lost her seat for Congress from a great state. I love that state. I won that state by like 50 points or some crazy number. And she lost to a very good woman who ran against her. Harriet. How good is Harriet? So Liz Cheney lost by almost 40 points. It's the biggest defeat in the history of the United States Congress. No other congressperson lost by that much. She lost by almost 40 points. Never seen anything like it. If Kamala wins, only death and destruction await, because she is the candidate of endless wars. I am the candidate of peace. I am peace.
Deep adopting with that. Thank you.
But I need every Muslim American in Michigan to get the hell out and vote, please, Mr. Mayors. Well, we got to get them out and vote. No, we want peace. Everybody who doesn't want peace? Only stupid people like Cheney. No, you give her a gun, Liz. We're going to a certain location in the world. We're going to fight it out with them. Oh, please, I don't want to do it. But when she's there and there's no consequences, we should go to war with them. Her and that idiot John Bolton, they were so stupid. But I loved him. You know why? He'd come into a room with me, would never say anything, and I'd be with foreign leaders, and I didn't even have to act tough, because he said, look, that moron, John Bolton, he's crazy. He's the one with Dick Cheney got Bush to go into the Middle East, right? Trump is going to go to war with us. And you know what would happen? They'd give me everything I wanted, because the guy's a nut job. Kamala Harris's campaign is in total free fall. You see that. The press hates to admit it. You know, I guess they want to hold it. Well, I don't want to be too cute with these statements. I want to be a little careful, because you got to still get out and vote. But if you get out and vote, we're going to win this thing in records that nobody's ever seen before. Daddy didn't. Harry, get up and vote. You're coming with me, Harry. Get the hell out of that sofa, Harry. But I'm watching the game. Get out, Harry. Let's go. We're going to vote for the president. And he votes. And you know what? Harry will feel much better. He's going to feel much better. Because everyone can see that she's totally unqualified to be the president of the United States. And she is. Everything Kamala says is a lie. I watched her yesterday. Such lies. Her entire campaign is one hoax and slander after another. But the more they lie, the more they smear, and the more they tell untruths. We have to go out and we have to get to, but no, she'll say everything. Trump will never frack. Oh, really? Trump will never drill. Oh, really? I'll drill the first day we're going to start drilling. It's going to make our country rich. Everything she said, oh, Trump will end Social Security. No, I'm the one that didn't end it for 4 years. She's the one that's going to force its ending because of millions of people. Look, we gave you a stat before, all the jobs that are leaving, but we gave you a stat. And what did that stat say? It said that all of our jobs are being taken by the migrants that come into our country illegally. And many of those migrants happen to be criminals. And some of them happen to be murderers. And they're taking the jobs away from the black population, and so far, to a lesser extent, from the Hispanic population. But that will change, too. The only way to stop the lies is to swamp them with our votes. We're going to swamp them. Kamala has no vision, no ideas. She has no solutions whatsoever. All she can talk, and it's true, all she can do. I watched her yesterday. All she can do is talk about Donald Trump.
Hey everyone, tonight I will speak about Donald Trump. Donald Trump, 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 Trump.
That was yesterday. I'm watching it, I'm saying, oh.
Down and I'll talk about.
Thank you. No, I was watching yesterday. Trump did it. Why the hell didn't she fix this stuff? I mean, now she's saying, I'm going to do this or that or this. There are some people who thrive under pressure, and there are some people who crack under pressure. And the more pressure Kamala has, the more pressure that Kamala has, the worse she's crumbled. I watched her 2 days ago. She's exhausted. I mean, I've been doing 62 days without a day off. And I am inspired, actually. It's always long. I'm actually inspired. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be, but I am. She's so rattled and frightened that she couldn't even do an interview with a great guy named Joe Rogan. Couldn't do it. And if she can't handle an interview, she sure as hell can't handle President Xi, can she? She can't handle President Xi of China. She will get overwhelmed, she will melt down, and millions of people will die with her stupidity. They got us into Ukraine. We should have never gone into Ukraine. If I was president, you would have never gone into Ukraine. This is not a charity event. This is an election for the biggest and toughest job in human history. This is the biggest job in history. And on top of it, we have to save our country. Do you want to lose your life savings because we put a weak and foolish person in the White House? Do you want to lose your job and maybe your house and pension because Kamala has the economic understanding of a child? She's like a child. I watch her. I'm good at this stuff. I watch her. She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. And every one of those companies will move. They'll move to Asia. They'll move to Europe. They'll move. Everybody wants those companies. But we do too, and we're not letting them go. Take a look. Take a look at what we did with John Deere. I mean, I just heard it. I just heard it just recently that John Deere has announced that they're not going to move to Mexico. If they do move to Mexico, they're going to pay a big price. They can sell anywhere they want, but they're not selling in the United States of America, okay? And I like John Deere, and I'm a big customer of John Deere, and maybe they'll red flag me. They'll say you can't buy from John Deere, and I'll buy from somebody else if I have to. But they're not going to move their manufacturing plants to Mexico unless they want to pay a very big price. This presidency is a job held by Teddy Roosevelt, Abraham Lincoln, Dwight Eisenhower, Ronald Reagan, people of strength and intelligence. Would you trust Kamala Harris to talk to Russia or China and talk them out of a war? Let's talk. I don't think you would. Would you trust her to steer us out of an economic calamity? She has put us into, and we are right now, we had the lowest job numbers I think I've ever heard. I've never heard of 12,000 jobs, John, have you? I don't think so. We've done this for a long time. I don't think I've ever heard of 12,000 jobs. Nothing is more dangerous than to give an immense amount of power to a very weak and incompetent and low IQ person. That's what you give. You're giving the presidency to a low IQ person. We had that for 4 years. We can't take another 4 years. I mean, the mistakes this guy made, and she was there, right? She was there. She approved everything she said. She'd like to have that statement back. You wouldn't put Kamala Harris in charge of literally a kindergarten class. You wouldn't be able to do the job. So at the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, can you afford to put someone this incompetent in charge of our country's future? No, you can't. On top of it all, Kamala says she would do one thing. Remember this. She would do one thing different, and then she took it back because she forgot the thing. So she said she wouldn't do anything different than Joe Biden, which is disqualifying. They've got almost a 90% wrong track. You know, right track, wrong track? It's the highest wrong track in the history of our country, almost 90%. It's disqualifying. Take a look at this.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
I stood there on the tarmac watching you check your watch.
The chaotic and deadly U.S. evacuation from Afghanistan stunned Americans and the world and cost the lives of 13 U.S. soldiers.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States.
An Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
Gut-wrenching new details in the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national who crossed the unsecured southern border back in 2022.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder and the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
A fifth illegal immigrant accused of attacking 2 New York City police officers over the weekend showed no remorse or regret.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Only 18% say the economy is in excellent or good condition.
US inflation has hit a new 40-year high, increasing by 9.1% over the financial year.
Authorities saying Tren de Aragua, which has been linked with more than 100 criminal investigations here in the US, has now been found operating its criminal enterprise in apartment complexes. Were you the last person in the room?
Yes.
Wouldn't come to mind, not a thing. Nothing comes to her mind. Let me tell you. It wasn't so much that nothing comes to her mind, because she's stupid. Now, can you imagine? You know the worst thing of all? 325,000 children are missing or dead. They came through the border. Think of that, 300. We're not talking 2 or 3, which is too many. 325,000 children went through her stupid open border, and now they're either missing, dead, or slaves. If you want to end this disaster, you must get out and vote. We're pleased to be joined today, and I hope this happens because he's really good, by your next senator from the great state of Michigan, Mike Rogers. Mike, thank you. Come on, Mike.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, for a couple of things. First of all, standing up for manufacturing in Michigan. That's exciting. You cannot be a great country if you can't build things. Donald J. Trump understands that for our state and our nation. For that, I thank you. I tell you, the biggest endorsement, we should be able to drop the mic and be done, tells you everything you need to know. As the president said, he got Customs or the Border Patrol Agents Association endorsement. Kamala Harris got the IRS agents endorsement. Do we need to say any more than that? And I just want to say a quick thing. Thank you, Mr. President, and I look forward to working with you to close this border. I met with a group, and they're called Fentanyl Fathers, and it's parents who have lost children to fentanyl poisoning. 3,000 of our Michigan citizens died last year because of fentanyl poisoning that came across our southern border. I look forward to not only closing the border, but putting those cartels on the terrorist list and make sure that they are held accountable for the deaths that they're bringing to our communities. And we're also going to hold accountable China for the precursors that they're sending there on purpose to kill our children in Michigan and around the country. We can do it, but the only way that we're going to do that is having Donald J. Trump reelected as the 47th President of the United States of America. So I'm going to extend an invitation to you, Mr. President, right here, right now. We're going to both win because we're going to get out and work as hard as we can the next few days. And we're going to take a couple of those plastic fold-up chairs, and we're going to sit outside of the majority leader's office in the Senate. I'm buying the popcorn, and we're going to watch Chuck Schumer schlep out of that office and down the hall so that we can make America great again. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for your energy, Mr. President.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. I see a very good Hulk Hogan lookalike. Look at that guy. The only thing I thought is Hulk's about 6 inches taller, maybe 7, 8, maybe not. Thank you. You look good. You look damn good anyway. But I know Hulk, he's that tall, son of a gun. How good was Hulk the other night, right? Wasn't he more? I also want to thank Senators Eric Schmidt and Mark Wayne Mullen, two of the great senators of our country. They're here someplace, and I want to thank them very much. Thank you. Two great senators and brave people. Congressman John James, a friend of mine for a long time. He was doing a great job. Great job, James. And you're doing well. Lisa McLean. Lisa, look at Lisa. These are warriors. These are great people. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. You're great. John Molinar. John. Hi, John. Cool. Thank you, John. Tim Wahlberg. Thank you, Tim. Good job, Tim. They're great people. They fight hard. They love your state. They love, I'll tell you, they love this country. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Oh, who's so good. Who's so good. Who's so good. Thank you, Bobby. And a man who I implored, I said, Pete, you got to do it. You got to be Michigan GOP chairman. And he was very, very successful, as you know, politically. He was a great congressman. Everything he did was successful. And he was sort of like me. He didn't need this. And he said, I'll do it. Pete Hoekstra, head of the GOP chairman. Great. We're doing okay? We're going to pull it off 4 days. Going to win? He said you're going to win. If he says you're going to win, that's the good news. He knows how to win, I can tell you that. Mayor of Riverview, Andrew Swift. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. Mayor of Garden City, Mark Jacobs. Thank you, Mark. Got all the big mayors here today. Township Supervisor, Groseal James Budney. Thank you very much. Thank you. Mayor of Southgate, Joseph Cuspa. And City Council President Zoe Cuspa. A little relationship there, I guess. President of the Michigan Police Officers Association, James Tiganelli, and he was so nice. He gave me a big award the other day. We have the endorsement of every single police group. And Brian Pennybecker, you met before. And Brian, I want to thank you. Brian Pennybecker. He's been so incredible. And Dr. Masad Boulos, I want to just thank you very much. You've worked so brilliantly with everybody. And my friend Steve Witkoff, who's a great developer and an amazing guy. Thank you, Steve. Here are the facts, just in closing. Kamala is a radical left Marxist, rated even worse than crazy Bernie Sanders and Pocahontas herself. She destroyed our economy. She was an original creator of the Defund the Police movement, and anybody who wants to defund the police for even 1 week is not worthy of being president of the United States. Kamala vowed to abolish ICE. She pledged to confiscate your guns. I don't think so. Would anybody like to give up their gun? Please stand up. And endorse a total ban on handgun ownership. And she even called for free sex changes for illegal aliens in detention. All at taxpayer expense. But perhaps most significant of all, she lied about working at McDonald's. She never lied. She never worked. She never worked at McDonald's. With your vote this November, we are going to fire Kamala and we are going to save America. We will cut your taxes, end inflation, slash your prices, raise your wages, and bring thousands and thousands of factories back to America and back to Detroit, Michigan, and Michigan. Thank you. We will build American, we will buy American, and we will hire American. I will end the war in Ukraine, would have never started if I was president. I will stop the chaos in the Middle East, would have never happened October 7th. And I will prevent World War III from happening. We will crush violent crime and give our police the support, protection, resources, and respect that they so dearly deserve. We will strengthen and modernize our military. We will build a missile defense shield, the biggest in the world, all over our country, made in the USA. much of it made in Michigan. We will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. Our cities are a mess. They're a mess, a crime-ridden mess. We will teach our children to love our country, to honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. And I'm going to put a bill in. If you burn the American flag, you get 1 year in jail. Just happened a few weeks ago in Washington. They're burning American flags all over the place. We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our school. And we will keep men out of women's sports. I will defend religious liberty. I will restore free speech, and I will defend the right to keep and bear arms, our second amendment, which is under siege. After years of building up foreign nations, defending foreign borders, and protecting foreign lands, we're finally going to build up our country, defend our borders, and protect our citizens and our lands. And we will stop illegal immigration once and for all. We will not be invaded. We will not be occupied. We will not be overrun. We will not be conquered. We will be a free, proud nation once again. We're going to be free and proud. Everyone will prosper. Every family will thrive. And every day will be filled with opportunity and hope. And most importantly, it's going to be filled again with the American dream. We're going to fill it up with the American dream for you, but for your kids. You kids want the American dream brought back. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris and stop her radical left agenda with a landslide that is too big to rig. Get out and vote. For the past 9 years, we have been fighting against the most sinister and corrupt forces on earth. You know that. With your vote in this election, you can show them once and for all that this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country. And 4 days from now, it is hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. We can do that. It seems unlikely, doesn't it? But we can do it. We're going to do it very fast. With your help from now until Election Day, we will restore America's promise and we will take back the nation that we love. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down, and we will never, ever surrender. Together, we will fight, 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 and win, win, win. We're going to win again. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. And together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Bobby. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you. Thank you, Mitch. God bless you all. God bless you, Mitch.